Today, we are going to take individual attributes from fighters and we are going to build the best possible fighter, the Iron Man of MMA fighters. Stick around to see me build the best fighter of all time. I'm Wyatt, and this is Fight Society. All right, guys, so today we're going to put together the best fighter of all time. Thanks for sticking around during this non-UFC fight week. We have the week off, so we're getting a little creative with the content this week. So first off, we will begin with cardio, and for that, I have chosen the cardio of Merab Dvalishvili. Now, he might be on EPO. He may have kind of admitted to that in a press conference as well, but regardless, this guy's gas tank is insane. He shot 49 takedowns against Peter, failed most of them, but the cardio to shoot 49 takedowns in 25 minutes is absolutely insane. So for our build a fighter, the cardio we will use is Merab Dvalishvili. Moving on from there, we have chin, and we will use the legendary chin of Max Blessed Holloway. And in this last fight against Justin Gaethje, he was dropped for the first time in his career. It didn't count as a knockdown, but it was. And that was up a weight class against one of the harder hitters in the weight class. So I'm not gonna knock him too much for that, but the absolute best chin possible would be Max Holloway. Moving down from there, we are going to go with knockout power. And for the knockout power, we are going to go with Alex Poatan Pereira, the left hook from hell. He has the ability to knock people out at multiple weight classes. His power has carried from 185 to 205. There's also the potential that he moves up to heavyweight at some point in his career. We'll see if it carries to heavyweight. But for KO power, you guys might say, oh, Francis Ngannou. But Alex Pereira broke Francis Ngannou's punch record on that stupid little machine at the PI. And also just my personal bias in favor of Alex Pereira. We will use the KO power of Alex Pereira. For timing and distance, I have chosen prime Conor McGregor, karate stance McGregor. The time and distance, he was an absolute sniper in his prime. The knockout of Jose Aldo, the absolute insane performance, the best championship performance in UFC history against Eddie Alvarez, and plenty of other performances. We'll see how UFC 303 goes, but if Conor can look like even a fraction of his former self, his prime self against Michael Chandler, we are going to see an incredible knockout of Michael Chandler. Next on the list, we are going to go with the boxing ability, and for that, I will choose Max Holloway's boxing. He has the most significant strikes landed in a UFC fight, and aside from that, his combinations, his speed and his angles, the way that he mixes up body, head, his flurry of punches, his boxing's insane, especially for somebody who doesn't have the most incredible knockout power. We saw him knock out Justin Gaethje at UFC 300, but I feel that that was more of a death by 1,000 cuts type of knockout. Justin Gaethje had taken a lot of damage in that fight leading up to it. But aside from that, we've seen Max Holloway just really beat the brakes off of a lot of fighters with volume boxing, changing levels, straight punches, hooks, uppercuts. For building my best possible UFC fighter, I'll use Max Holloway's boxing. Moving on from there, I'll say kicks, and for kicks, we will use Jose Aldo. Some of the most incredible leg kicks in UFC history, his body kicks as well. He doesn't throw a ton of head kicks. If we're talking about specifically head kicks, I would say somebody like Leon Edwards, Israel Adesanya, but we're building the ultimate fighter, and we don't need just head kicks. We need something that we can change the course of a fight with, and that would be the leg kicks and the body kicks of Jose Aldo. As you can see right here, the damage that he did to Uriah Faber when they fought. Moving down the list from there, we have the clinch game, the clinch ability, damage done in the clinch. Now, there are many great clinch fighters, Charles Oliveira being one of them, but for clinch ability, I would choose Anderson Silva. The way that he ate up Rich Franklin in this fight with knees in the clinch, The way that he would manage distance, but if somebody closed the distance on him, he could welcome them into the clinch and eat them up with knees and elbows is really impressive. So the best clinch that I would choose would be Anderson Silva. Now for striking defense, I will also choose Anderson Silva. People remember his distance management in his prime. I should say prime Anderson Silva, because he did get clipped and knocked out a couple of times, but prime Anderson Silva, you see in this picture right here in his fight against Forrest Griffin, you see him right at the edge of Forrest Griffin's range where he looks so calm, right at the edge with a fist half an inch from his face where he could set up counters and deadly knockout blows. So for striking defense, I would choose a prime Anderson Silva. Moving down from there, we have wrestling, and I know that plenty of you would say Khabib Nurmagomedov, but for me, I'll take the wrestling of George St. Pierre. And the reason that I choose this is you got to look at the stats. He has the most takedowns in UFC history. He has 90 takedowns in his UFC career, and he is number 4 all time on takedown accuracy. So people like Khabib failed a lot of takedowns, or they would rely solely on the takedowns, and they were fucked if they didn't get that. But GSP mixed everything so well, and it made his takedown offense so much more effective, because unlike Khabib, he had striking, karate, boxing that he could rely on, where he's putting more things than just a takedown in his opponent's head. So for wrestling, I would choose George St. Pierre. And then referencing the same fighter that I chose for wrestling, for fight IQ, I would go with George St. Pierre as well for my ultimate fighter, because George St. Pierre was so incredibly skilled in the striking and the grappling department, elite boxing and kicks, Muay Thai, karate, and elite wrestling and Jiu Jitsu. Truly the most well-rounded fighter. If I had to pick just a well-rounded fighter, period, it would be GSP. But we're making our ultimate fighter, and you'll see GSP has multiple spots on this list. And GSP knew where to beat his opponents, whether it be switching to grappling when the fight called for it, or choosing striking over grappling when that's what his opponent's weakness was. Maybe he'd get hurt on the feet and opt for grappling. GSP has the highest fight IQ that I've ever seen. Moving down from there, we have ground and pound, and I was considering Jon Jones for this, but he has spent a lot of time on the feet in his career, whereas Khabib, everyone knew it was coming, and this is still how he dominated his opponents, truly breaking the will and totally gassing out opponents. Edson Barboza looked like he was reconsidering his entire career in his fight with Khabib. Conor McGregor brutally dominated for the majority of their fight with the ground and pound, almost got finished with the ground and pound, and many other people. Khabib's ground and pound was top level, and I actually put it above Jon Jones. So for my ultimate fighter, I choose Khabib Nurmagomedov's ground and pound. For my takedown defense, I'll choose Jon Jones. Now, Jon Jones is also a very well-rounded fighter and has very good offensive grappling and ground and pound, but he also has the second highest takedown defense in UFC history at 95%. And this is part of what helped him to defeat fighters like Daniel Cormier that were heavy wrestlers. Given his long, rangy striking ability, it would force many of his opponents to want to wrestle, and 95% takedown defense speaks for itself. The fight happens where Jon Jones decides that it happens, whether it be on the feet or on the ground. For Jiu Jitsu and submissions, my ultimate fighter choice is Charles Oliveira, and that speaks for itself with the most submissions in UFC history. I don't really think that there's much debate here. You could say someone like Damian Maia, but just watch the calf slicer finish that Charles Oliveira had. Watch his transitions that led to this finish of Justin Gaethje right here. That combined with just his record-breaking number of submissions speaks for itself. The very last attribute that is very important in determining our ultimate fighter and building our ultimate fighter is grit, heart, and the ability to dig deep. And for that, I choose Jon Jones. Now, Jon Jones has been in a couple of spots in his career where he could have his undefeated, I mean, I know he lost to Matt Hamill, but his undefeated streak would have been on the line or possibly ended. And this is shown here in his armbar escape against Vitor Belfort, where you know the elbow's popping. TRT Vitor's about to break your arm, and you pick him up and slam him to get out of it in a championship fight with everything on the line. The same thing goes for when he splits his foot open against Chael Sonnen, and he understands that he needs to dig deep in this moment and get a first round finish because they're not going to let him go to a second round. And many other moments where Jon Jones has had to dig incredibly deep. The Thiago Santos fight was close. The Dominic Reyes fight was close. He arguably lost that. But in my opinion, the grittiest, most ability to dig deep in a fighter is Jon Jones. And so there is my ultimate fighter. The cardio from Merab Dvalishvili, the chin from Max Holloway, the KO power of Alex Pereira, the timing and distance of prime Conor McGregor, the boxing of Max Holloway, the kicks of Jose Aldo, the clinch game, knees and elbows of Anderson Silva, the striking defense of a prime Anderson Silva, the wrestling of GSP, the fight IQ of GSP, the ground and pound of Khabib, the takedown defense of Jon Jones, the Jiu Jitsu and submissions of Charles Oliveira, and the grit / heart / ability to dig deep of Jon Jones. So there you have it, guys. That is my MMA Ironman building the most complete fighter, the best fighter of all time based on individual attributes of certain fighters. Let me know your thoughts down below. Is there anybody you would have picked to go in different spots? Is there some people that you think should be substituted? Is there other attributes that you think I should have included? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Thanks for watching this video. Make sure to like and subscribe. If you want access to extra content aside from my regular videos, click the link in the description down below to become a channel member and get access to members-only live streams and other bonus perks. Or click the join button on our channel homepage. And if you're interested in some non-MMA content from me, check out my weekly podcast, the Hissyfit podcast, and check out my personal channel, Wyatt's World. I'll have them both linked in the description down below. Go watch this suggested video, and I'll see you next time.